Yo, what up, everyone? It's your boy Debo with Debo's Picks. I'm gonna do a real quick recap of last night's picks. I'm not gonna show the plays I gave out like I normally do. I'm just gonna go over a couple of players that hurt us and the players that didn't, and then we're gonna move on to my picks for tonight's NBA slate. So let's get right into it. Starting off with Jalen Smith, we had him going over 8.5 rebounds. This is a guy that had 14 rebounds against Brooklyn a couple of nights ago. This is a guy that grabs double-digit rebounds in his past 5 or 6 games. This is a guy that averages around 30 to 35 minutes per game. He did none of that last night. He was in foul trouble early on. He only had one rebound in the first half. He ended up finishing with four for the entire game. He wasn't on the court for as many minutes as he usually is. But even so, when he was on the court, he wasn't making the best of it. So I'm not sure what happened. I didn't watch any of the game. And then we had Giannis Antetokounmpo. We had him going over 12 and a half rebounds. Now, if you follow this guy, in the first half, he generally averaged around 7 rebounds. He had 2 rebounds in the first half, going up against Detroit, who's a team that's known to give up a lot of the boards to opposing players that play in the paint, much like Giannis Antetokounmpo. So it worked against us. His PRA wasn't even close either. I believe he finished around 40. So he had 2 rebounds in the first half. I believe he finished with 7 for the total for the remainder of the game. So that hurt us. Durant did his thing. He went over his points. Donovan Peoples-Jones switches to the football. He went over his receptions. Chubb went over his yards. Cooper went over his receptions. Obviously, what hurt us was Mixon. Didn't even come close to his prop bet of rushing yards, going over 6, 7.5. This was a favorite to go over. It even got bumped up by the books prior to us making some of the selections. So they liked him going over this number, but didn't happen. The only prop bet that worked out for him was receptions. I believe he got that over 3 in the first half. So that was a prop bet to ride. Not something that I would have expected, to be honest with you. Being that the yards were there, I feel like they would pound the rock more without Chase. And if they had to throw, to go to Higgins. And speaking of Higgins, we have going over 5.5 receptions. Dude only had 3. Burrow was under duress for the entire game. He couldn't really have time to throw the ball deep. He was dumping a lot. That's why Mixon ended up having the receptions he had. Even P. Ryan had a lot of receptions for a backup running back. So he was doing a lot of dump offs. He didn't have time to drive back and really kind of break down the secondary. A secondary that was depleted in the Browns. They had a lot of backup corners there. So I expected Higgins to beast. This is a target monster, even with Chase in the lineup, but not the case this time around. So that hurt us a lot. So like I said, we went 3 out of 5 on a couple of plays, and we struck out on the other plays that I gave out. So overall, it was a loss. We walked away with less money than we came in with, and that's not what I'm about. That's not what we're about. We're about making that big money, and I expect a big turnaround starting off with tonight. Now, I was waiting for the Taco Tuesday to hit, which it now did. The Discord sent me a message a few hours ago to place my vote for the Taco Tuesday. It was between Steph Curry's points, Jimmy Butler's points, both PRAs for Curry and Butler, and Tyler Hero, for whatever reason, I don't know why he was even on there as an option, had him going for his points from 19.5 to 16.5. Obviously, no one was going to really pay attention to that. They were focusing on Curry and Butler, as I was, and I voted for Curry's points. The majority ruled. So obviously, as you see, Curry's points is what the first Taco Tuesday will be for today. So let's get into my picks for tonight. Starting off with Steph Curry's Taco Tuesday, 23.5. Give me that all day. I'm going to link him up with my second favorite prop, Andrew Wiggins, over 5.5 rebounds. This is way too low for this man. Give me this all day. Over 5.5. I expect it to get bumped up to 6 over time. My next prop bet would be Kyle Lowry going over his fantasy score of 26.5. This is easily obtainable for him. He gets those assists, get a couple of buckets, a couple of steals. You know, he's a good defender. So I like him to get his. And he's been averaging well over this in the past few games. And then we got Jimmy Butler going over his points to 23.5. I expect him to do his thing. And lastly, Kevin Durant going up against Chicago. I got him going over 30.5 points. The other prop bet that I really like would be Gilgeous-Alexander, but they haven't had that prop bet up. He's got a good matchup. But for now, guys, those are my plays for today. If I see anything else coming up, I'll give you guys a quick pop-up video. But Aside from that, best of luck. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.